Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You have noticed that I'm not at school today. My foot was hurting a lot, so I'm going to get that checked out later today, so I won't be able to make it to class. But I didn't know how to still be able to teach what I wanted to teach you, and then I thought of this wonderful YouTube channel that I've got now. So hopefully this is a good way to still teach you what I think is important about this article that we're going to be reading, and kind of get you ready for the next steps of this, what's coming up. So today you're reading an article called Self-Esteem from a Scalpel, The Ethics of Plastic Surgery. And then tomorrow you're going to be reading one about personalized medicine. Both of these two articles are going to be working to kind of confuse you a little bit. There's no clear answer, and no clear answer for Christians, how Christians should, should Christians get plastic surgery or not, or totally avoid it or whatever. So I wanted to start with articles that had a confusing start so that we could complicate the matters, and then next week we're going to start reading some articles, and you're going to be forming some opinions about things that Christians typically have more of an idea of how it should go. There's probably like a website that you can go to that would say, this is the Christian ideal for how Christians, we approach this in ethics, in medical ethics specifically. So we'll start with this one on plastic surgery. It's from the Christian Research Institute, which I found was a pretty good website that had a lot of good articles about how to approach things from a Christian, more of a scientific Christian perspective. So I'm going to read the synopsis. I want you to read along, so your eyes should be on the paper, and I'll be kind of explaining a few things as we go. The synopsis. The numbers of patients seeking plastic surgery has skyrocketed in the past decade, and this practice has found increasingly uncritical acceptance, meaning more people want to do it, and it's fine. They think it's fine. Plastic surgery is commonly subdivided into reconstructive surgery and cosmetic surgery. Reconstructive surgery seeks to restore form and function of a defect in the body and is therefore a positive moral good that mitigates the effects of the fall. So let's take a look at the word reconstructive. You can see there's two parts there, and then constructive, to reconstruct, to remake, to rebuild, to do it again. And then this part about mitigating the effects of the fall. What they're talking about is the fall of humanity with Adam and Eve. So one idea with Adam and Eve is that they not only brought sin into the world, but they also brought the destruction of our bodies. And, my foot hurts me a lot today, and it wouldn't have if the fall hadn't happened. So my body is constantly breaking down. All of us are constantly breaking down because the world is not perfect, and because imperfection was ushered into the world with the fall. And so we can mitigate the effects of the fall by doing healthy things. I'm mitigating the effect of the fall by going to the doctor today. Now, the other kind of plastic surgery, first was reconstructive, second is cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery differs in that we are seeking to augment otherwise healthy tissues to improve appearance and self-esteem. Looking through the light of Scripture, I do not believe we have license to condemn all forms of cosmetic surgery. We should be discerning, however, meaning asking questions, judging, thinking about it critically from all sides. We should be discerning, however, regarding our motivations for pursuing cosmetic surgery. First, we should be careful if our motivations for surgery are principally to increase our self-esteem. The evidence shows the long-term effects of cosmetic surgery are not universally positive, and we should be esteemed not based on our own image, but on the image of God who created us and died for us. Second, we should consider whether the goal for surgery is to normalize our appearance to enhance our bodies to approximate a perfect ideal. Kind of reminds you of the Twilight Zone episode that we watched. If cosmetic perfection to increase the attention others give us is our motivation, we may not be adhering to the principle of biblical modesty. Last, surgical enhancement supports the idea that our bodies are ours and modify without limit. Okay, I'm going to have you continue reading. You're going to read one paragraph. Let's have Isabella go ahead and read the first paragraph. So the substitute can pause the video. Isabella will read and then turn the video back on. All right, so that paragraph was about an oral maxillofacial surgeon who was correcting misaligned jaws. And this article actually caught my attention because I have to have that same surgery coming up. Well, this is the question, if I have to have it or not. Suddenly my jaw basically broke down back here, and my lower jaw pushed backward, and for 9 months I couldn't eat anything but soup because my jaw just suddenly stopped working, and I started talking different. I looked different than I looked a couple of years ago. This thing just happened, and so they tell me I need this surgery, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you're going to read the story of two people who had this surgery. And as you read the next couple of paragraphs, I want you to watch what these two ladies think about their appearance versus their function of their jaw. So there's kind of two issues here. They look different and their jaw works differently. So read up until the end of this section. Stop at a brief history. Let's have Jonathan go ahead and read the first paragraph, and then somebody else can read each paragraph that follows. All right, so we just read those paragraphs, and I wanted to highlight this question at the end. Is our goal as surgeons, he's speaking to the surgeons, is our goal as surgeons to correct deformities or to give our patients greater self-esteem? And that question just jumped out at me because this doctor that I have, he's in the States, in Minnesota, he gave me actually that same exact pamphlet that they talked about. I looked it up in the work site, and I'm like, I have that pamphlet too. They talk a lot about this is going to improve your function of your jaw. I'll be able to chew better. But then they talk a lot about how I'm going to look and how I'm going to look better. And then this doctor that I have is really, I don't like him. He's very, is kind of a bodybuilder, and he talks about all his fancy vacations, and on his bio on the internet, you can read about him. He flies his own plane, and he's just really all about me. And he talks about how I'm going to look differently when I go in and get this surgery. And really, I just want to be able to eat meat and eat a steak that's a little chewy, and it'd be nice if I looked a little different. I don't know, maybe I don't care. I'm not sure. I'm totally confused. I don't know what his goal for me is, because he seems to be so impressed with appearances, but I just want to eat and eat well. And so I'm not sure. I feel a little bit like Marilyn in the Twilight Zone. Who's my buddy here? What are you trying to, do you really have my self-interest in mind? Or are you just trying to make more money so you can buy a bigger airplane and go fly it on fancy vacations, And this is a really expensive surgery. So he would make a lot of money if he had me as a candidate. And so I started asking, well, is it okay if I just, eat soup for the rest of my life? But I'm fine with that. But he says, no, there's gonna be problems, with my teeth. Okay. So I'm really questioning what his motivations are, and so that's why I wrote this question that you looked at before the video. How do the personal values of others affect us? I feel like I'm being affected by his personal value to look perfect and to do expensive surgeries for people. So I need to go back and look at the research and figure out if what he's saying is true, because I don't trust him. So it's not only the values of the person who's seeking the plastic surgery or the reconstructive surgery. It's the values of the whole system that all work together. And that's where it gets complicated because I don't know what the answer is. And so I'm really seeking that. So let's go back to the reading. And I want you to read the next 2 paragraphs under a brief history. Let's have Joshua go ahead and read the first paragraph and Marissa read the second paragraph. Go. All right, so you just read 2 paragraphs, and then I'm going to summarize a little bit. The next paragraph is basically, the author did a really good job of using his first sentences of his paragraphs to introduce the content of the whole paragraph. So all we have to do is read the first sentence, and we're going to be fine. We understand the paragraph. The next paragraph says, "There's no question that the popularity of cosmetic surgery has skyrocketed in our lifetime." More people are doing it. Next, I'm going to read this paragraph to you. Christians believe that human beings are created in the image of God. One of the consequences of the fall, like I talked about earlier, is that we are subject to sickness and pathology, like I mentioned. God, in his mercy, gives the human race the ability to subdue the creation and mitigate the effects of the fall. The main purpose of medical science is to treat sickness and disease, thus helping to alleviate suffering. This is not the case for surgery. This is not only the case for surgery, but for all other types of medical treatment. So we'll read the next opening sentence of the next paragraph. Reconstructive surgery is simply the application of this principle where there's a pathological, congenital, or traumatic defect. So that's just saying reconstructive surgery is for my jaw, so that because this weird, it's congenital, it just like happened. Or no, it's pathological. That's what it means, it just happened. I'm not totally good with my vocabulary of medicine, but working on it. So reconstructive surgery can be for me because I need it medically. Then I'm going to have you read the rest of the article, and it's pretty long, so some of it's probably going to be for homework, so you'll need to read the whole thing because tomorrow for your bell work there's going to be an opportunity to reflect on these questions. How should a Christian discern their motivations for reconstructive surgery? And how do the personal values of others affect us? It'll be a little bit open-ended, but you'll need to have read the article so that I know that you have done your homework. So reading the rest of this is for homework, plus chapter 3 of The Arm of the Starfish. And go ahead and use the YouTube channel to do that. All right, thanks guys. I hope to see you tomorrow.